happening, everybody? This is Keith here at It Came From GenX, alongside Mike Skinner, Ryan Fisher. Hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. We are thankful for all of you. And with that, Skinner, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys doing? I had two places to go to on Thanksgiving. We had dinner here in the afternoon, and I went to families in the evening out in Ravenna. So it was nice to be able to see everybody. Ate a lot of turkey and ham and good food and lots of laughs. So worked out great. Who knew
Awesome.
that was a precursor to a terrible weekend? But we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yes, we will. Fish, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Nice Thanksgiving. Girlfriend Allie was sick, unfortunately, because it was just my mom and I. Spent a nice Thanksgiving afternoon together. I cooked my first turkey breast of my life. Turned out well. Did a simple brine and cooked it. Good meal. Yeah, it was great. Peyton was down in Hocking Hills with her boyfriend and his family, so it's just mom and I. I think it's the first time we've ever done that in our lives, but it was very nice. And the only thing bad about it was the crappy Cowboys game finish, but other than that, we had a great time. So
that seems to be a common theme. We'll get to. But even though Allie wasn't there, you and your mom, I could think of a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Scenario. That's great.
That's right.
Okay. Well, we had a great time. It was about 30 people in and out, and my sisters. My mom made the best pie she ever made in her life. That's why I'm fat right now. And it was a good time. So
very good.
Yep. Moving on. Okay, guys. Well, let's get this train rolling. We got a lot to talk about. And with that, Fish, tell them where they can find the show.
All right. Well, you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up their site, click play live now, and you can get a recording of our episode there every Monday. Also, check out their other content there. They have other shows and good music and all of that. You can listen to us whenever you want to on demand on your favorite podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and more. Give us a subscribe for free, and as we do post new episodes, they'll pop up in your feed for you. You can listen to them whenever you want to. All show information, all social media links, Facebook, YouTube channel, Spotify, Instagram, I'm trying to say, TikTok, Twitter. Links to all those are two main places. Our Linktree account, just Google It Came From GenX, one word, Linktree or Linktree It Came From GenX, and you'll find us there. Nothing to log into, just simply a platform to all of our social media accounts. Yes, very simple. And our website, also very simple. Just look up It Came From GenX, one word, .wordpress, one word, .com. It came from GenX.wordpress.com. All show information is there. Links to all of our episodes, links to our YouTube channel videos, all that stuff. So if you go to one main place, go to our website, keep in touch, drop us a line, share commentary, tell a friend. And if you are inclined to, get us a box of Christmas cookies or something like that, as you may become a Patreon if you so choose. You can make a one-time donation if you want to, or subscribe if you want to. Don't have to do that. Listening, sharing, subscribing, plenty of ways to show support of the show, and we appreciate you out there. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you to all the listeners. I get someone here and there. I'll say, hey, I listen to your show, and we appreciate it. Even overseas, we have some people that listen to the show. We are grateful. Germany, Ireland, the UK. That's just absolutely awesome. And we'd like to hear from you for sure. So get a hold of us. All right, guys, you ready to get this thing rolling?
Well, before we do that, let's do a couple of shout outs to Gustavus Dominic from WMVU, our DJ friend and helped create this show, or helped get this show on the road, I should say. My son, my firstborn, Michael Skinner
Yeah,
Jr.,
keeps it on the road.
yeah, our producer
Mechanic.
extraordinaire, our guy behind the scenes that's keeping us in front of these cameras and audio
Yes.
devices. And yeah, he got his money's worth today, didn't he?
Oh my God! Thank you, Junior, for the laboring that you did with me to get us ready for the show tonight. So
One of the
he'll
things,
have some gray hair soon just because of us.
our kids, I absolutely love that they are a part of the show. Peyton and Steele's been on the show a couple times as a guest as well. So their contributions and their I don't want to say their approval, but their helping us go where we're going. It's great.
Man, she
that our
makes it
kids are
sound
involved.
so sweet. Our kids just feel sorry for us. They're like morons.
Maybe that's what it is. But
They said, let me help this idiot.
just like the ladies in our lives, we got good kids in our lives as
Right.
well. And that's I'm very
You
thankful
made it
for.
sound so benevolent. They're like, these kids are just like tired of us looking ridiculous. Like,
Get it together already, guys.
I know, right?
Or get
Idiots.
off my lawn.
All right, buddy. How about you hit us with some world news?
I got an interesting story. It comes out of Boise, Idaho.
Nothing comes out of Boise, Idaho interesting. So you're lying already.
There's a blue football field out there, Boise State University.
That's
which
true.
is kind of cool. Ever hear of the book called The New Chronicles of Rebecca?
Nope.
I tried to find it in the local library. I couldn't find it.
Oh, well, that's because it's been missing for 110 years.
Oh.
This novel by Kate Douglas, it's a sequel to the original, which is Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, was checked out on June 28th, 1910. It was just returned to the Boise Library last month. So it's been checked out since 1910. That's amazing to think about.
Okay, well, before you go on, I'm going to ask the big question. The person that checked it out didn't return it, right?
Yes, I'm going to assume that's a big fat no.
Wow.
But I'm not sure. There's not much backstory to it because it sounds like the book was just dropped in the night slot.
Oh, okay.
And somebody inside the library found it.
Well, if the person that checked it out, they couldn't have dropped it off because they wouldn't be out at night.
Well, they wouldn't be driving either. So, yeah. So I would love to know what the backstory is on this. But,
me too.
But interesting. My house was built in 1909.
Mm-hmm.
This book was checked out a year after my house was built. It's just mind-boggling the time that has gone by. Now, they did a calculation on the late fee for this particular book, and they calculated at 2 cents per day for 110 years. Came out to be $803 and some change.
They got a good rate.
They got a great rate because you know how 2 cents back in 1910 was probably like $2 to us today.
Yeah,
So
or imagine that book being checked out in 1985. It'd probably be more than the $800.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about inflation, they just said 2 cents per day, $800 some dollars. This particular library does not charge late fees anymore, so they were okay with that. But they did say had they still charged late fees, they would have only been able to charge the amount of what the book cost when it was checked out, and the book cost $1.50.
Wow.
A big novel like this. Well, I don't know how big it is, but it was it was 1907 is when the book came out in Boston and New York. And again, the author was Kate Douglas Wiggins. So I thought it was interesting. One, it's a library. Two, nobody does the libraries anymore. These kids are on TikTok and YouTube. That's where they get their information from. I didn't
want to steal your narrative, but I was going to ask you, when was the last time you guys were in a library?
Me? I've been in there within the last 6 months, truthfully. And Serenity did until we got her a phone, and now she wants no part of being in a library. So I'm kind of throwing her under the bus because she's just one of those.
Readings for suckers.
Yeah, she reads on TikTok
That's
and
my girl.
YouTube, and that's where she gets her information. And I'm not just picking on her because it's all kids, but pictures we'll post on here is the actual. If you remember when you used to check out a book at the library, and it had like an index card and those stamps that you changed the date on each day.
Right.
It has that stamp from back in 1910. It's pretty fascinating to look at. And how this book, it had to have been sealed, it had to have been put somewhere for it to be in still great condition that they're saying it's in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. To me, the book is more fascinating than the story.
Yeah.
I mean, the book is a story, but
right.
I would be interested in seeing the book, and you know what I'm saying? It should draw some attention.
Well, they did say that this book is no longer going to be allowed to be checked out. Duh. They're going to put it in their history section of the store, where people will be able to come in and take a look at the book, read a few chapters out if they wish, but it's not going to be leaving the library again. So I thought that was pretty neat too. So tell me about what you guys remember from when we were kids. You know, we don't go to malls anymore. We don't go to roller skating rinks on Friday and Saturday night no more. What is it that we did that you remember that has so much memories to you? I went to the library often. I know we cracked jokes that we all had encyclopedias in our house, and that was our go-to for information. But I spent a lot of time at the library when I was a kid, checking out books, magazines, and as technology came on, you could rent video games, you could rent music, albums, all that from the library. What do you guys remember from the library back then?
Fish?
Oh boy, yeah. I used to the Kenmore Library, our local library. That was within still is within walking distance from
right.
But no, I remember I used to go and check out a lot of books back in the time. I liked a lot of like mystery type novels and stuff like that, and it was just pretty neat. I remember it was as a kid, I remember being so excited when you got your own library card. You got something in your name. That was probably the first thing at the time that we got as kids that was in our name that we were directly responsible for. Oh yeah, that was kind of a big deal. And they had to punch the card. You had the raised letters with your name on it, and so it's very official and all that stuff. And then that was your ticket to get everything out of there that you wanted. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if I kind of a lost art, I guess. I don't know. I mean, certainly our local library in Akron's got all kinds of. I mean, I read about all the stuff that's down there.
Yeah.
3D printers and screen printing, and there's all kinds of things to do over there. I just haven't gotten over there to check it out. But
here's a machine you probably haven't heard the name for a while: Microfiche.
Oh yeah.
Remember the Microfiche?
Yeah.
You check out articles from the Akron Beacon Journal or New York Times or any of that stuff. I use that a lot too.
Learn how to read the cards, the index cards to find the subject that you wanted and find a book in the section and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, good memories there.
Yeah, it was maybe 5-6 years ago. I was in the library last. It was the library in Norton. Just somebody I was dating for a while. Spent a lot of time there with her daughter, so I started going there with her, and it brought back a lot of memories. And maybe 15 years ago, I was at downtown library a few times. But Fish was really right. When you got that first library card, I think that was your first inclination of what it would be like to have a credit card. It was the first thing with your name on it that you could hand somebody, and then you could walk away with something.
It was kind of a source of independence.
Yeah, it was
first real independence.
It was the first taste of independence, and that was powerful. You would look hard to find something of value to you, whether it was books or magazine or whatever. I remember right after I got out of high school, that was my source for videotapes, drummer tapes, how-to tapes. You know, it's amazing. You can just look up anything now on YouTube, but I had to go to the library and, get Dave Wecko tapes and all kind of different drummers and learn how to, do things. So I remember my best memories were being in elementary school, though. There was something special about the elementary school library, at least ours. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful place. It was a quiet place. Man, you could just get lost in there, walk up and down the stacks unsupervised or with a friend. And I just loved being there. There was never enough time when I was in the library. So just great memories.
I'm with you there. Yeah, the old Heminger Elementary here, man. That was good old Mrs. Deal. Such a nice woman, was our librarian for many, many years. I still remember her vividly,
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that was very exciting times to walk in there and get a book and hang out and
Yeah, it was just a special atmosphere,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I always got excited when I saw the Star Wars books. Even if it was just like a cartoon book, something, as long as it said Star Wars, I was fascinated. I remember that as a kid.
I was in the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew mysteries back then.
Okay.
Those are really big. So
we'll have to dive into that a little more, the stories that we grew up with. We'll have to do that
that's
another
a great
time.
story, Skinner. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Well, we'll move on to sports and music. So let's just get the sports out of the way. You probably noticed some sad faces here for those of you watching this here on video.
Yeah, I'm still representing, though.
It was a sad weekend for all of us. Fisher's Cowboys lost. Skinner's Browns lost. My Steelers annihilated. And all of our Ohio State Buckeyes embarrassed.
Crushed.
Yes.
Crushed and embarrassed.
Guys, I'm serious. I was so depressed. I couldn't sleep. It's not just about losing to Michigan. Of course, we don't want that to ever happen. But it's just the whole package. Us being number 2, poised for a title run. All of it just boom. And the way we went out. I was afraid after what we did to Michigan State last week that what Michigan State did, boom, the week before Michigan, they would come out flat, and then we would do the same thing, and we did. Just the line was dominated on both sides by Michigan, and we just looked bad. That 3-headed monster wide receiving core, they made some incredible catches, but not enough in the end zone. And obviously the running game did not get going. This Michigan-Ohio State thing, we've had a great run. We can't complain. This is Harbaugh's first win in 5 years. And so you don't have a lot of room to talk junk. But this Michigan-Ohio State thing, we grew up with this engraved in us. Those of us are diehard Buckeye fans, and I know we all are. What does this rivalry mean to you? What are your memories growing up about this rivalry? We've seen some great commercials as of late that shows the intensity of it. My favorite is the guy, the girl picks him up, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's hitchhiking, and they're hitting it off. We got all this stuff in common, and she's a Michigan fan, and he's Ohio State. He jumps out the car, something great like that. I said that really about sums it up. We know the great Buddy Ryan, our old coach, Woody Hayes. Some of the antics he did. He never called it Michigan. Always called him the team up north. This kid punched a player before. I mean, he was great. He was the epitome of an Ohio State football coach. And this
Urban Meyer never wearing the maize and blue.
Yeah.
The maize blue and yellow or gold, or I call it piss yellow is what I call it. But
yeah, and for Ryan Day, who had, since he's been here, has never lost to a Big Ten team, for his first and only one to beat a Michigan, that's got to sting. Any really, really specific memories or about this rivalry, or what does it mean to you, Skinner? We'll start with you.
No, just the hatred for that team up north, the hatred for those colors. Blue happens to be my favorite color, but that shade of blue I absolutely despise. And it was instilled into me from my parents being Buckeye fans and growing up that they were the enemy. You don't like them. You don't root for them. If they're playing your team, it don't matter who's they're playing. If they're even playing for a championship, I'm not rooting for them, even though they're Big Ten. That's what my mom and my dad instilled in me very young.
Yeah.
You just cannot root. And truthfully, I've been inside the state lines twice.
Uh-huh.
And if I never go back, I'll be okay.
That's two of us. I've spent a lot of time up there, and I don't ever want to go there
There's
again.
nothing wrong with it, per se. I went to Michigan International Speedway for a NASCAR race with my mom and dad 15 years ago. We had a great time. The area around that place was beautiful. I hear that the place called Hell, Michigan, there's a reason it's called Hell. But I also know that that place up there, the northern part of the state, is absolutely beautiful. God's country. Just don't have the desire to get through that state. They always say you go east until you smell it, and north till you step in it. So,
okay. Well, if I could sum up the rivalry and any of my memories, I remember working at a law office, and there was a guy there who was a diehard Michigan fan. And there was me, and there was another guy, real, serious Ohio State fans. And the smack talk got so intense that between games, so that means 364 days. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times after work, when we worked till 9:00, it was either me or the other guy had to go over to his house to play NCAA football on the PS2, Ohio State versus Michigan.
okay.
So he would keep score all year long of who was up to satisfy this rivalry. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, okay, you're going tonight. It was three times a week. I would call my wife, honey, I'm going to Jay's to play PlayStation. I'll be home.
That's pretty
go over
cool,
play,
actually.
and again, go home. You know what I mean? That's how bad it was. This guy had to have that to satisfy till the game.
Wow. I was never that intense with it. I mean, I remember just as a kid, you sort of started to learn about it and get it. I recall we had a gym teacher way back at Heminger that was a Michigan fan, and our teacher thought it'd be funny that we all made in class like Ohio State shirts, white shirts. So we just drew a design on it. We all wore it to gym class to kind of make him mad, and so even as a kid, I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. This is something. But I don't know. To me, it's just a lot of fun. I know some people take it very, 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 very serious. And we were talking about it even at the game. And Cunningham said, while watching the game, he's like, if we win every single year, like it's been, it kind of takes the rivalry out of it. So this sort of needed to happen.
Right. And I think
it's been 10 years
for the focus of this young team that we have.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm happy about. I think it's going to really galvanize this young team. I love the quote that Stroud made today in the media, and that's what you want to hear from your young quarterback. So
what do you say?
Let me read it for you here because it was awesome. Stroud. He's a special kind of kid, I do believe we'll be seeing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. And this kid is really special. He's grown up before our eyes. And the comments he made was, well, I can't find an exact quote right here. I had it up. But basically what he said was, this is the game that we wait for all year long. We worked so hard for this, and we blew it. And he vowed to work so hard just to get back to this game and win it all. So
that's what
basically
you need.
What he said in a nutshell.
Yeah, we sort of went through a lot of phases. I mean, in the heck, in the 80s, it was kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
The 90s in our time, it was in our John Cooper era, Coach Cooper for Ohio State. We could never ever beat Michigan. Seemed like they could never beat them.
Yeah.
Never.
Lloyd Clark came along, and I think Ohio should have put him on the payroll. He was great to beat.
Same with Hoke.
Yeah, and then when the vest showed up and changed everything for Ohio State, brought us a championship.
Yep.
That's when the rivalry really came back, I
Yeah.
think, is when Coach Tressel went to the helm. That's when the rivalry for Ohio State fans, that's where it came back and where it started meaning something for us again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I was just looking it up, by the way. Some people wonder where did this all even start? It's hard to, but there was that's what I was looking at here on my iPad. So there was a war, the Toledo War, many years ago, and it was Ohio and Michigan residents were fighting over a border
wow.
discrepancy, and they say that war helped the states kind of dislike each other for a while, and then the game kind of sprouted. The played for the first time in 1897, Ohio State, Michigan, and it's been
Wow.
an intense rivalry ever since.
Now, Ohio State didn't score, but I think 10 points the first 10 years.
Wow.
If you go back
first
and
game
look
was
at the
34
scores,
zip. Yep.
they only scored like 10 points in the first 7 or 8 games that they played.
Yeah. You
Well,
can find all kinds of stuff online, so check that out. Yeah, go ahead.
if you guys want to do something really interesting sometime, look up the history of some of these great games that we have every year. You know, we have Ohio State, Michigan, we have the Iron Bowl, Auburn, and Alabama, and then we have the Little Brown Jug. That is a great story about that game. I forget the two teams that are in it, but basically, one, back in the day, the water bottle was like one big giant jug for everybody, and the visiting team forgot it and left it, at the other team's stadium. They called and said, "Hey, we left our jug. Can we get it back?" And they said, "No, we'll play you for it." And that's all. The Little Brown Jug. You got the the Axe. Minnesota plays for every year. Great thing to look up the history of some of these college games. So, all right, guys, let's get out of sports.
I was gonna say real quick, what was it? Wagon Wheel for Akron U and
yes.
Kent State.
I don't know the history of that. It'd be interesting to look up.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, we should know that.
Right, both of us being students at the school. Because it's not like we went to school there or anything.
Yeah, I graduated from Akron, but I wasn't really into the whole school thing.
Yeah. The last time you went to a game, you were all roving a wagon.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it, something like that.
Something like
Last
that.
time they won a game, there was wagons outside.
It could be.
Wow. Okay, guys, let's get to some music. So no major stories happening in music news, but certainly some things that we can relate to some Gen X story. So this day in music, a couple of things caught my eye. This day in 2009, Susan Boyle's album became the best-selling debut in the United Kingdom's chart history. Went straight to number 1. She was the 48-year-old runner-up on Britain's Got Talent. It sold 410,000 copies of I Dream the Dream, which is a song I believe she sang on her first time on the show. She topped the U.S. charts, setting first week sales record for a female debut album with 701,000 copies sold in its first week. This was a woman who had nothing, made it to Britain's Got Talent, and sang this operatic masterpiece. I forget who sings the song. I'll know the name in a minute. And she's rich and famous now. And it just got me thinking about the rags to riches story. Growing up, being fascinated by people who went from quote unquote rags to riches. Now, definitely didn't want to do this in sports because you could pick a couple sports and everybody's a rags to riches story, just about. Okay, your basketball players, a lot of your football players, and certainly a lot of baseball players. You got a lot of guys from third world countries, and all of a sudden they're millionaires. But just kind of like overnight sensations, people who have went from rags to riches, quote unquote. There are some people, I don't know if you guys knew, who were dirt poor. Leonardo DiCaprio was in a drug infested apartment in Los Angeles. Halle Berry was in a homeless shelter, sleeping before she got famous.
Here in Ohio, it's, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in
Uh-huh.
Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey was dirt poor. She's worth $2.6 billion now. Oprah Winfrey. Who'd have thought this heavyset woman who made it to the news in Chicago, Illinois, would become an icon in entertainment television, a voice for women.
Created empire.
Unbelievable. You know, that is the most fascinating story. Is there any particular rags to riches story that you guys can remember growing up that still fascinates you, Skinner?
When you asked us about that earlier, I was really struggling with the rags to riches because everything comes to mind is sports. That's what we're used to, sports and music. That's what all our passions was. So I got to thinking, you know, the story about Amanda Berry, Gina De Jesus, and Michelle.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I can't think of her name. 3 young ladies that got kidnapped and they were
went
held
from horror to not
yeah.
riches, but.
And Amanda Berry's on Fox 8. She does a lot of work with missing people. I know Gina De Jesus has got some company that she's doing. The gentleman that was the neighbor that Amanda Berry talked to when she first escaped the house, his name's Charles Ramsey.
Yes.
Remember this
who can
guy?
Forget him?
He's my rags to riches memory of recent. This guy went from just a Joe Schmo to everybody in the United States knew who he was and where he was from. So that's kind of my rags to riches that doesn't include music or sports.
Okay. You know, since we want to go that route, you have got to talk about well, she goes by the name of Bad Baby right now. Bad Baby was an ignorant talking, unruly teenage girl by the name of Danielle Bregoli, who appeared with her mother on Dr. Phil. Her mom didn't know what to do with her.
Oh, that chick.
And
Sorry.
she thought the audience was making fun of her, and she threatened to fight them with the term "cash me outside." She was talking slang, ignorant, you know, whatever. They didn't quite understand what she was saying, but that's what it sounded like, "cash me outside." And that term became a viral internet sensation. Now this girl is on a label doing rap albums under the name Bad Baby. Dude, I'll send you the video. She's huge. She's got songs talking about hoes and this and that. It is unbelievable that this young girl has a following. But that is a rags to riches story. To go on Dr. Phil, you're an unruly teen, you're ignorant as all get out, and now all of a sudden you are filthy rich with a label contract. Only in America. Only in America. Fish.
I just looked. I couldn't think of much beyond what you were talking about here. I just kind of looked up. I cheated, looked up some online here, but there's a lot out there. Dolly Parton she grew up 4th of 12 children in her family in Appalachia. Poor family in Appalachia. Was exposed to different musicians. Encouraged her to be ambitious, and obviously went on to make a huge name for herself. Ed Sheeran dropped out of high school and slept in subway stations. It says.
Okay, let me narrow it for you guys. Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
Instead of just rags to riches, how about people who became famous overnight for the craziest reasons? For not even being anything special, like the Cash Me Outside girl. You think of anybody like that? I think of some people. How about what's his name? He cheated on his wife with a teenage girl, Long Island Lolita, and the girl shot his wife in the face. Amy, what was her name? Amy Fisher? Was that it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was that jerk's name? Buttafuoco.
Joey Buttafuoco. Yeah.
How did this moron become famous for cheating on his wife?
Yes.
He was on the celebrity boxing show. I'm like, are you serious?
John Wayne Bobbitt's in John Wayne Bobbitt's in that. In
I
that
was about to
realm
say
as
John
well.
Wayne Bobbitt's another one.
Yeah. For
What a way to get famous. I'll pass.
Yeah, I was going to say Lorena Bobbitt. That's what I thought you were going at first.
What a way to get famous. You know, when they
No
say
thanks.
cut, it means a whole different meaning with him.
Wow. You know, one that's interesting is like there's all kinds of these out there, but you know, Ken Jennings is one that it comes to mind here. So the guy was a guy, just a regular dude, smart man, gets on Jeopardy and just crushes it and has the longest running win streak in Jeopardy history.
And I better never thought he'd be hosting that show.
And he's hosting the show.
Dreamed it.
No, he does a great job. If you listen to, I mean, he does really, really well.
He does fine.
They need to keep him involved with Mayim Blalik, in my opinion. But just, just
really,
stuff like that.
I think he does a nice job, but he doesn't have much personality. He's like,
I don't know, but he's good. I mean, he reads the questions well, and he does that
well. I think
that
show needs somebody with some, that was the thing I thought about Alistair Beck. He had a great personality. His corny sense of humor fit in with the guests. A lot of these people on that show, they're not exactly what you call social. You know what I'm saying? Especially to have
they're not social they're social.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
they're not social butterflies. I was going to use another term, but I'll refrain from that.
When they talk about the things that they did and whatever, you're just like, really? But that's who they are. And, they're academics, and that's great. So
yeah.
Anyway, how about the guy on American Idol that didn't get past the audition, but he sang that song looking like a clown with your pants on the ground?
Oh yeah. Like that was pretty good. I thought we were talking about the guy that the guy
Asian guy.
Asian descent.
Oh yeah.
He's made albums, and you can find him out there on those like personalized sites, where they do personalized recording for you and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, it's interesting. Guys. Yep, that's right. Okay. That's right.
I did have one more. I don't want to go back and forth, but I did have one more quick sports stories. I don't know if you guys, Tiger Woods has finally spoken out that he's coming along fine. Recovery's going well. He's moving well. His quality of life is coming back. He did admit he would never play golf full time again. He knows that. He's aware of that. He's admitted that. But it was just good for people to hear from him. Guys, I remember the day Tiger Woods won the Masters. I'll never forget that day. I was playing at a club. And
playing the drums at a club.
Yes, thank you. And a friend of mine walked in to the bar and shouted real loud. He's a white guy. He goes, "Well, that's it. The last sport us short white guys can do. It's over with now." Yeah, everybody in the bar laughing. He goes, "It's over with." So I never forget that. I didn't really understand. I understood what Tiger Woods meant to us as being as a Black American, as a golfer, but I didn't understand what he meant to the world of golf until I watched a documentary on this guy and saw the awesomeness of what he accomplished. What does Tiger Woods' dominance over the last few years mean to you? Definitely want to start with you, Skinner, because you're our avid golfer here, and you would probably know more about it than I do. Go ahead.
It's kind of
what makes him so popular, so big, just besides the winning?
Well, the winning. I hate to say it, the color of his skin, the winning.
Well, when you say the color of his skin, what do you mean?
Because golf didn't have that. It didn't have anybody but Asians, Caucasian whites. That's pretty predominantly all that played. And then Tiger Woods came in. Now, there were other African-American golfers, but nobody had the fame or the fortune that Tiger Woods ended up having.
That could dominate like that.
Yeah. His dominance was polarizing to everyone, whether you liked him or not. He was always in contention week after week after week. And during the time that he was coming up, with 9/11 that happened and if you think about the time that he was coming through all this, It was a perfect storm for somebody like Tiger Woods to
Stop
take.
taking the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say he was the perfect storm.
I gotcha. Me personally, I can't stand the man
Mm-hmm.
off the course. His adultery, the way he talked to people walking the course, because you don't see this on TV
Mm-hmm.
during tournaments unless you're at tournaments itself. You can watch the arrogance of this guy, and you have to have an athlete has to have a sense of arrogance
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to be good. But there's a line that you don't cross when you're dealing with fans. You're dealing with young children that idolize you. And I saw the negative side of that. I saw the F-bombs, and it's all adult stuff. It
Right.
happens. But when you got kids that are claimed to be he's their hero, and they're
Mm-hmm.
hearing this coming from him, you can't have that happen.
Okay.
And then all the negative stuff that happened to him, it was sad. I wish it never happened to him, because when you watch him on the course and you watch that man do the things that he did for so many years, there's never going to be another Tiger Woods as far as the golfer is concerned.
Yeah. I was going to say he was the perfect storm as well. One, he was young,
Mm-hmm.
and two, we had not seen a black person dominating the sport before.
Mm-hmm.
He was hip, the clothing,
Yeah.
the hats. He had a nice build. He was a nice looking guy.
Good
So
looking individual. Yeah. I was going to
he
say that
brought
too.
attention to golf from so many areas that never had that before. The women,
Mm-hmm.
black people, young people, all these
Yeah.
different groups and genres. All of a sudden, boom, into the golf just to watch him play. And I just thought
Mm-hmm.
that was fascinating. When I watched this documentary, it really hit me of what he meant to everybody else too.
Right.
Off the course, different story maybe, but certainly his prowess on the golf course has changed the game forever. So, all right.
Right.
So, last quick music story, guys. Jennifer Batten birthday today. Jennifer Batten was a guitar player for Michael Jackson. She did all 3 world tours with him. And was in several videos. Jennifer Batten is what you would call a sidekick. Became famous because of the hair. Of course, she was with Michael. Favorite sidekicks growing up in music history. I'm gonna just tell you 2 of mine real quick. 3 of mine. Lisa and Wendy played with Prince. They were kind of something of a mystery on the videos. We got to see more of them when the movie Purple Rain came out, and of course that propelled them to do their own thing. Jerome, Morris Day in the Time. This guy held a mirror for Morris Day. It became one of the most famous people in music by on stage dancing and holding a mirror. I thought that was just the coolest thing, especially for hip hop. And of course, the Pips. They were running sense of humor throughout comedy shows and movies for years. Gladys Knight and Where's Her Pips. So those are 3 of my favorite sidekicks. Fish.
Boy, sidekicks. I don't know.
That person who's with the real famous person, but they kind of make their own way.
Man,
It could be music, it could be sports, it could be anything.
Okay.
You want us to come back to you?
Yeah.
All right, Skinner, what do you got, bud?
One comes to mind is Uncle Cracker with Kid Rock.
With Kid Rock, yeah.
Yeah, he was his sidekick for a while, and then he went off on his own. Didn't do as well on his own as he did with Kid Rock, but definitely was one of those.
He had his moments.
Yep, he had his moments. Another sidekick. I'm going to go back to golf with Phil Mickelson. His caddy was named Bones. I can't remember what Bones' real name is, but he's actually now he walks the courses for CBS television, and he's
what about
an analyst.
Tiger Woods caddy? Steve.
Oh, Fluff. You're talking about
that
Fluff.
guy was like what do you make, $1 million a game or something?
Yeah, they make 10% of the earnings typically is what the caddies were. But when you think of Phil Mickelson up until recently, you thought Phil Mickelson and Bones. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That was his sidekick.
Oh, yeah, Pippen was a huge, probably biggest sidekick in all the sports.
Yeah, so those are a couple that come to mind for me.
Excellent. Get anybody fish?
No, I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay. You mentioned Kid Rock a minute ago. Have you guys heard Kid Rock's new song?
No.
You have got to pull this video up as soon as the show is over.
Okay.
I can't quote any of the words. I saw an interview about his song, and the lady was saying, we can't show you the video, we can't play the song, we can't do any of that. You'll have to go watch it on your own. I said, I got to go see this. And when I pulled it up, I understood why. It's called Don't Tell Me How to Live.
Okay.
Man, I don't know how they're going to play this on the radio, but the song is amazingly written. I got to give it to him. It is amazingly written. So check that out. Don't Tell Me How to Live, Kid Rock. All right, so that's all I got. Let's go to some pop culture.
All right, well, we got a couple significant deaths here recently in the world of pop culture here. And when I heard this earlier, I just looked him up here. Virgil Abloh, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He just passed away yesterday. He was he was an American fashion designer and entrepreneur. He was the artistic director of Louis Vuitton's menswear collection from 2018 until his death. So he was one of the few, or one of the first. No, I'm sorry. He was the first African American to be artistic director at a French luxury fashion house. So just kind of an interesting. I won't go into this whole story here and all that, but his mom was a seamstress in Rockford, Illinois, and he just sort of got into that industry, created a little name for himself, got himself noticed, and worked his way all the way up to obviously a very high profile position. He was known for like his street themed wear and all that stuff. Very interesting life here, and I kind of missed how he passed away here, but definitely was a young man. I know he might have been battling an illness or something like that, but anyway, just very interesting story. Check out his story out there online. So Virgil, excuse me, Abloh, Abloh. So 41 years of age, a very young man. That was just yesterday.
Wow.
And to get back to my notes here.
While you're looking at your notes.
Yeah, go ahead.
The most famous sidekick of all, in my opinion, Barney to Andy Griffith.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Who can forget that?
There you go. Stephen Sondheim passed away. Legendary composer and lyricist. Just huge in the industry. I'm not so much a musical person myself, as far as a musical movie and fan and so forth. But he wrote Company, which turned into a Broadway, returned to Broadway earlier this past month here. West Side Story, obviously one of the most famous musicals that there was. Sunday in the Park with George, Into the Woods, Gypsy, and you mentioned it off camera, Keith, but they're actually redoing. Steven Spielberg is redoing West Side Story.
Yes.
And that's going to be out very, very soon.
And Rita Moreno's actually playing a character in it.
That's right. I was just going to say that. She was on 60 Minutes.
Okay.
We're talking about that role there. 90 years of age, still coming back there. But,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so if you're a musical fan, you probably know Stephen Sondheim. Definitely people in the industry. There's tons and tons of people that are out there recognizing him. Hugh Jackman, just tons. You could just look up Stephen Sondheim, and you'll get some, a lot of good clips and snippets and quotes and memories of his life. So, again, I'm not much of a musical fan. Are you guys? Are you fans? Do you know some of his work or heard of it, but not so much?
Stephen Sondheim's the guy where you're a fan of his work and you don't even know it.
That sounds about right.
Because he's done so much. You know, I can't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, he did this or he did that," but his name's synonymous with a lot of plays, a lot of musicals, and you hear his work in so many different things. Certainly not the kind of person that's, you know, like a household name. You know exactly what he did, but I believe everybody's a fan of Stephen Sondheim and just don't know it.
Yeah, probably about right. Skinner, are you familiar with his stuff? Or go ahead.
I couldn't tell you one thing that he's done, but as soon as you said his name, light bulb went off that
Yeah,
I know the
exactly.
name, but I just don't know where I know it from. So, not a big, huge fan. I don't seek out musicals and things of that nature, but I definitely won't turn them off either when they're on. Sound of Music is the biggest musical that I know of,
Mm-hmm.
and I thank my mom for introducing me to that. Yeah, don't know who he is, but I'm sure I know his stuff.
Yeah, you think about that. It's just the talent. It's just a whole. I mean, to write a song is one thing, but to sit down and write several songs into a storyline and put a whole comprehensive story together with music is really
It is
a
phenomenal.
whole other level of talent that one possesses to do that, especially to do it, have success more than once,
Yes.
many times over. It's really pretty fascinating.
Especially when you hit it out the park, where, you know, there's those plays that we've seen where every song is just awesome, you know, and fits what's going on. And for a person to be able to do that over and over again, like you said, is astonishing.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. You know, one might say that it generates a lot of electricity when you're there watching it and experience it. And, you know, another thing that generates electricity is electric bikes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Nice
yes,
segue.
indeed. That's
Good
right.
segue.
So, yeah. So, and if you're in the market for a wonderful, beautiful electric bike, check out RPM Bike Shop. Look them up on Facebook. All their information is there, based out of Carrollton, Ohio. Family-owned business, different styles to fit your electric bike needs. And again, electric bike, it's not all electric. You could pedal like a normal bike and use the electric rechargeable boost to get yourself up some tough terrain
Yeah.
or go farther out, whatever it is. Check out RPM Bike Shop, one of the new sponsors of It Came From GenX.
Yes. And
Thank you very
not
much.
only do we vouch for the bikes, but we vouch for the people who run this incredible business.
Absolutely right.
They are, well, they're family essentially. So you can't go wrong dealing with Julie and Rob Roebuck and these incredible machines.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of incredible machines, we'll segue back into looking up some significant pop culture events this day. Now, this day is, what the hell a day is it? It's Monday, November 29th. Okay. This day, 49 years ago in 1971, a Atari came out with Pong, the first Pong arcade game, and it was developed into a home version 2 years later, or 2 or 3 years later. I think it was in 73 or 74. And then obviously Pong, the home version there, eventually became the Atari 2600 gaming system.
Yes.
And then that, there you have it. Then, you know, certainly home video game play, or video game play in general, was never the same after that, with the, you know, the arcades, and to be able to play some of your arcade games at home. Obviously more crude back then with the Atari 2600, but still, it was just, I remember my parents had just a Pong set that you plug directly into the television. It was like tennis and foosball and handball and a couple of things like that. I thought that was, at the time, one of the most incredible things I ever experienced, because you're playing a video game on your home television. It was kind of hard to get your mind around that for a little bit there, but then eventually I got my own Atari, and still works, still have it today. Still play every so often. It's, you know, retro fun, but yeah. So Pong. So, and then the Atari. So,
Great memories.
Obviously, we've all played Pong.
Yes.
Did you then? Did you get? What was your first gaming system? Did you have the Atari? What was your first gaming system at home that you got?
I have the Pong table tennis thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was given to me, given to my mom. Somebody she had worked for, and they gave it to her, and it was my first time experiencing a gaming system. I was so excited, not just because of the game, but I figured out how to hook the little thing with the wires on the back of the TV and plug it in and all that, and that was just an incredible experience for me. And I played the game for a while with my sisters, who she was easily bored. And, she was a teenager going through her things. I finally had fun when I discovered something. I would turn the contrast all the way down and the brightness all the way up, and then turn off all the lights in the room. So it was pitch black. And it was like glow in the dark, and you could see the light trails of the ball back. It was the most incredible experience. I'd be in my room for hours, with my nephew doing this, man. It was the greatest time ever.
Skinner, did you have an Atari? What was your first gaming system?
Yeah, we had the Atari 2600. That was our first one. I think my sister and I, that was a combined Christmas present for us.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that you had the adapter on the back of the television set that you had to go from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to play the game, you had to flip that thing in order for it to show up on the television set.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, we had that, and then we had the. I'm trying to think of what was the next one after that.
We had the Atari. You had the Atari 5200. You had a ColecoVision. You had a television.
But the 2600. You know who hated that machine?
Who's that?
The corner candy stores.
Oh yeah.
Because it destroyed that period of a few years. Their business was like it had never been and never would be again.
That's right.
We lost you.
Your sound cut there, Keith.
All the corner stores
there you go.
were packed with kids getting quarters, playing video games. Put your quarters on the machine. I got next.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're there, you're going to buy juice and pop and candy. So it was great. They did this to bring business in. It worked. It was an amazing few years for them. Then, of course, the arcades came out and kind of killed that a little bit. But when the home machines happened, oh my gosh! I remember we had the kids all in my house. I'm like, get these kids out of here! We're all taking turns playing combat and all this other stuff. It was the greatest.
I still have my original Atari to this day. And last weekend, was it last weekend? Wednesday. So this is Thanksgiving Eve. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's got to be a way. I'm just so behind here, right? So it's been in my basement for years and years and years. And I still have my television I had as a kid here in the basement. Still works. The old tube TV with that same box, Skinner.
Yeah.
So every so often I'd come down here and play. But I hadn't done it in a long time. And I have like a preloaded Atari I bought, which is still very great, by the way, with 100 games. And you can find these out there.
I've seen them at the dollar stores.
Yeah. I looked up there's got to be an adapter. And sure enough,
I guarantee there is, yeah.
Sure enough, there's YouTube videos out there. Adapter is $7, all it was, and it goes from the port of the Atari into a coax adapter, coax cable end, and you could take that and you screw that directly into the antenna or the coax section of your HD television, and there you go. Now or you have to go a different route. Now that didn't work for me on my Fire TV. I had to go through my old VCR, which I still have a freaking VCR.
Oh my!
So again, it's all in video. You can find these on YouTube video. YouTube is one of the greatest inventions of all time.
It is.
You can watch It Came From GenX or Convincing Idiots as well. Podcast. Anyway, plugged it in the old VCR. The VCR is connected to the television in the red, white, and blue.
Yes,
or red,
I remember
white, yellow.
To the VCR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I learned.
Turn the VCR to channel 2. Set the input on the television to the RCA. Boom. The old Atari pop right on immediately.
That's that old coaxial rigging.
That's it. So Wednesday night, I played some of the video games I have not played in probably 20 plus years at
It's
all.
great. Good stuff.
Great,
man.
great fun. I put a post out there in some of our Gen X groups and all that. Tons and tons of people
It's great
asking,
memories.
how do you do it? Yeah, how do you do it? This and that. And so a lot of people, it was actually a nice sense of community. Everybody's sharing how to do it. And then I got some people saying, dude, why don't you just emulate the games? Emulate the games. I'm like, I would if I knew what that was exactly. But apparently, you can go out there and get these old classic games and get versions of them and, drives and whatnot. And you could play them right through another connection and play them as is. But anyway, I said the old Atari, it works. It was great. Nostalgia. So thank you, Atari. Thank you for developing Pong. And
How do we go from that to our kids now getting out of the
crazy?
cars, beating up hoes,
Nuts,
hijacking cars, shooting
Yeah, it was
people in the
definitely
head?
whole other sense of innocence and a whole different style of those games and everything else. I mean,
It's mind-boggling. Think about it.
sure.
I'm sitting here telling you how I spent hours going, boop, boop, boop.
Yep.
I was totally fascinated. To now, you could just blow people's brains out.
Well, I'll go one better. We're watching television and a commercial comes on and Marcy says, "Is that a movie?" "No, honey, that's the next game that's coming out for Christmas."
Yeah, absolutely.
She thinks it's an actual movie
Yeah.
and doesn't realize that that's a video game that people are playing on the systems.
And I'm scared to see where virtual reality is going. This is going to get, as technology increase, oh my.
Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
There's a place in Cuyahoga Falls. My son Steele took me to for Father's Day, and you get in like a roller coaster car and put the glasses on. I'm telling you, I almost wet myself 3 times. It was so real. I don't do roller coasters, but this was like being on a real roller coaster. The seat moved. I tell you what, man, I was so scared, and I was like, I am not about to punk out and pull these goggles off in front of my son. I was scared to death. And, later on, we were having dinner, and we were sitting at a table, and this elderly woman walks by. She goes, "I just want you to know how much fun I had sitting there watching you."
I bet.
So one of these days, I want all 3 of us to go up there, man. We'll have a ball.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's called The Works in Cuyahoga Falls.
The Works. Okay. All right. Well, we don't need virtual reality to get off this particular roller coaster of an episode. So we have come to the end of another episode of It Came From GenX.
Before you do our goodbyes,
yes,
I don't have it on right now, but I wanted to say thank you, Fish, for the wonderful birthday gift, the shirt. And I don't know do you guys know about the gift I got from Cooper?
I'm not sure that you know what? I think I do. Maybe.
Cooper calls me up and he goes, "Hey, you home?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Come out on the front porch." I walk out on the front porch. He's there with this big box all wrapped up beautifully. I'm like, okay. I open it up.
Yep, I know what it is.
This beautiful folding chair.
Oh, yeah.
Amy and him searched and searched. They found a chair that could hold up to 1,000 pounds.
Yep.
I didn't know that if I should be upset, but as the chair is so gorgeous and I love it, it's so comfortable and it's been so convenient. So, guys, next get together, you'll probably see me with my own chair. So
you can take that thing everywhere you go.
Amy. Thank you, Coopers.
Yeah,
excellent.
He sent me a picture and he goes, "Hey, look what I found!" And I took a drink and I looked at this thing and almost spit it out because
you guys suck.
Looked at the picture at the same time.
You guys suck, man.
That's great. All right, Skinner, you want to take us out, sir? End this roller coaster for us?
Come to the end of this roller coaster ride for Keith Porter and Brian Fisher. I'm Michael Skinner. We are the gang from It Came From GenX. We appreciate your ears and your eyes. Stay tuned next week, and we'll see you then. Have a great one.
I don't do gangs. I don't know what he's talking about. We don't do gangs in the show. Because of black.
Enjoy that chair there, Mr. Porter.
Yeah. Long live Atari 2600.
Table tennis.